Oh, what is this thing in front of my mouth? Why do I not sound like I'm underwater anymore? This is my new microphone. I want to tell you more about this microphone in an upcoming YouTube video. For now, let's go ahead and get back into editing some photos. What's up, everybody? My name's Tanner. I'm a graphic designer, and today I'm going to do a walkthrough on how I would go about editing some photos. This is all subjective. This is just my style that I currently like right now. Your style might be something different. In the future, if you want me to edit any of your photos, you can just send them to me on Instagram in the DMs. Just find me on Instagram at TheyCallMeTanner, and I might just go ahead and edit one of your photos in an upcoming video. So since we have a new microphone, I figured it would be nice to go ahead and take some shots. This is one of the shots that I took. Just microphone on the arm, connected. I think what I'm gonna do first is give it just a basic S curve. I'm actually just gonna increase the shadows here, and then I'm gonna go to the top of the S and increase the highlights, and look at that. It's already looking really better just by doing that very simple edit. So I increase the highlights more. That makes the light pop off the already pre-installed mount. So now I'm gonna increase the shadows here, and me increasing the shadows will let us see some more of that detail that the camera captured that's on the mic right here. And we're gonna lower the contrast some. All right, so I'm gonna move down to color, and whenever I move down to color, I typically start by making the image cooler, and that's just dragging the slider over to the left to the cool tones. My A7 III took a slightly warmer shot, and I feel like the A7 III typically takes a warmer photo in general, and my style is to just remove a lot of the warm tones and bring in more cooler tones. That's just more pleasing to my eye, and I feel like it's more pleasing to a lot of other people's eyes. I'm going to increase the vibrance a bit, and with increasing the vibrance, decreasing the saturation a bit. There are some photos on my Instagram that I posted where I actually did increase the vibrance a lot and still increase the saturation just because I loved how rich that photo was. If you want to go see any of those photos and guess which one it is, you can find my Instagram at TheyCallMe_Tanner. All right, so now this is where the fun begins. I'm going to go down to the color mixer. The color mixer is what gives me a better time to edit photos in post compared to just using Photoshop, mainly for the different colors and lighting in the photo. Because if I click on this blue circle, that means I'm only going to affect any of the blue colors that are present in the photo. I'm not going to affect anything else. So if I just drag the hue all the way up to 100, that's actually going to make it more purple. And you can tell which color it's going to be because the color right next to the blue circle is purple. So if I drag the hue all the way to the right, it's going to be more purple. But if I drag it all the way to the left, it's actually going to be more teal. So I'm going to keep it here. I do love how it just changed to a purple, and that black pairs really well with purple. Really, black pairs with every single color, and I love that. So purple, I'm feeling purple right now. Let's go ahead and do that. And these reds, I'm actually going to drag it all the way to the right to the orange side, and then I'm going to take these oranges and drag it all the way to the yellow side, and it's going to turn that red 3.5mm jack that's plugged into my microphone to a yellow one. And that is phenomenal. I love that look. Here's what it looked like originally, and then here's what it looks like now. And that is totally nuts. You couldn't tell me it's the same product, just it was made in a different color. And we are gonna give it just a little vignette. Let's go ahead and add a linear gradient to the bottom left. And the reason I'm doing it to the bottom left is because you can actually see on this photo the light source is coming from the top right, and it's going down. So as it goes down, it gets darker when it goes to the bottom left. So that's why I'm going to make it darker here. And that's one thing that you really want to make sure that you're keeping in mind whenever you edit photos is, does the light make sense? Does it make sense that if my subject is being lit from like an overhead light, going straight down, does it make sense to like add in a radial gradient on their chest or their face and lighten it up? Does it still look right? You can do that for sure. You just want to make sure that what shadows are in the photo itself, your subject, for example, are making sense with the light that you're adding in. This is making sense. This is a very basic example since it's just a blue, now it's a purple background. And I'm gonna actually go in and enhance this some by adding a linear gradient on the top right where my light source is coming from and just lightening that a little bit. And there you go. There is a microphone with was blue, now purple background and a new microphone jack. What I'm gonna do now is send it to Photoshop. There's some dust on the microphone that needs to be removed. If you remove dust from your photos, it looks more professional. So thank goodness for Photoshop. So just click File, Edit in Photoshop. It's going to send it to Photoshop, and then you can use the clone stamp tool just to stamp areas that you do like, bring it over the dusty areas and clean up that dust. And there we have it. This is what the photo looked like originally, and this is what it looks like now. That is sick. I love it. That's a tasty shot of a microphone. All right, so in celebration of a new microphone, here is one final edit that we're gonna do of said microphone. And I'm actually gonna make this one unnecessarily dramatic. And I love to make things unnecessarily dramatic. Here's actually, and I'm going on a side road here. Here's a raw photo that I took of a semi truck on the highway, just using the reflection of my driver's side rearview mirror. And here's what it looks like with an unnecessarily dramatic edit. This photo is sick. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna give this a 4x5 crop that makes it friendly for the gram. And then I'm gonna go and give it an S-curve because this was well lit and the S-curve works really well. We're gonna boost the highlights here and increase the contrast just a smidge. All right, now I'm gonna go down to the color section and you already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and make this a cooler photo by increasing the cool tones of it. Mess with the oranges. I'm actually gonna decrease the saturation and its luminance. I'm gonna go into masking and do some simple masking here. I'm gonna select the background and I actually gotta select more of that background because it thinks this blue part is part of the microphone. All right, all I'm gonna do here is lower the exposure some and then increase the shadows by sliding it over to the left. That's really the same thing that I did with the wood. The wood was kind of competing for the focus. I didn't want anyone to appreciate the wood. Like, well, that's some nice wood. That's a nice wood desk you got there. That's a nice wood desk you got there. Does it sound really weird when I do this on my new microphone? Same thing for the background. Just me darkening the background, make it less saturated. Just made it to where no one has any choice or chance to focus on anything else but the microphone that's already in dead center. So now I'm going to do one of my favorite lighting techniques in Lightroom. I'm actually going to make a radio gradient, make it big, make it wide-ish. Going to increase the exposure a little bit, increase the highlights a little bit more, and that creates some fake light. Going to remove some of this mask and give it some of a feather. That way the light kind of fades in and fades out more realistically, at least in my eye. That looks sick. This photo is unnecessarily dramatic. Just gonna make a linear gradient and bring it over to the left. It's nothing that's really necessary. It's just a enhanced point of view. There's a little bit of dust left over on this microphone, so I'm just gonna edit in Photoshop, use the clone stamp tool. And after all that editing, here's what the photo looked like originally. And here's what the photo looks like now after being turned into an unnecessarily dramatic photo. That is phenomenal. I love that. Just that looks so good. That would look so good on Instagram. I should probably post this one on Instagram. All right, so moving on from those microphone photos, I hope that you enjoyed it. We're actually gonna move to a friend of mine named Duncan. This is when we were on our bro date at the gun range. Yes, men go on bro dates. They're called bro dates because they are dates of bros. It was a great day. We lifted weights, we ate food, we shot guns, and we went shopping. It was awesome. I recommend bro dates. I'm gonna give it a 4x5 aspect ratio, and I'm gonna straighten this up the best way that I can. What's great about this aspect ratio is I have leading lines that are pointing just to the subject. That's just, you can't ask for a better shot. And I'm actually gonna do something very controversial here. I'm gonna skip all the basic lighting adjustments. I'm even skipping the point curve because I already know how I want this to look. I don't wanna adjust too many other settings. It's gonna kind of ruin that and make it more difficult to get there. So what I'm planning to do is adjust the color first and then go to the masking. Keep the temperature as shot. The vibrance, I'm actually gonna increase its saturation. I'm gonna decrease it a little bit. All right, so jumping down to the color mixer, the melting pot of colors. We're gonna start with teal because that's what's already selected. So I'm gonna take the teal and I'm gonna drag its hue all the way to 100 because I know I'm gonna wanna increase the blues. Actually, let's go ahead and go to the blues right now. Bring it more to the blue side away from that purple. And to make sure that I got all the blues that I want, I'm actually gonna jump to green and drag it all the way to the right. Let's go ahead and jump to orange. I'm gonna go down to the saturation and increase it. There's reds in here on the targets itself. Do I wanna own it and increase it or decrease it and act like it doesn't exist? Let's decrease it, like there. It's fine. It's still there. It's not like I'm trying to hide it with the lighting. I just don't want it to take away from the orange or the blue. All right, now let's go ahead and go to masking. I'm going to use Lightroom's subject feature and select my subject, and look at that, it selected it perfectly. Actually, it's not perfect. Let's go ahead and remove some of this here. Lower the exposure some because that light is actually hitting him pretty hard in this photo and it's taking away some detail on his skin. But yeah, we're gonna actually bring down the highlights a lot in this photo because I want you to see those wrinkles that are on his shirt. Color, I'm gonna make this just a bit more cooler, just a little bit cooler. Let's go ahead and select the background. I'm going to decrease the exposure, not too much, right there, right? Yeah, right there. Me darkening the background is actually just to enhance my subject more. I'm going to increase the contrast some. Color, all I'm gonna do, just make it a little bit cooler. Go ahead and top off the saturation here. We're gonna stop messing with saturation after this though. Oh man, that's a ray. We're gonna go all the way here, like 48. There we go. Looks so good. All right, and lastly, what I like to do whenever I'm messing with backgrounds in post, I like to go down to the detail tab and increase the noise reduction. And that's gonna make your photo look blurrier. And there we have it. So this is what the photo looked like originally. And this is what the photo looks like now. Decadent. That's a good word, decadent. Decadent. All right, moving on to the very last photo here. I'm going to show you an easy way to save you some time whenever you're wanting to edit another photo that was taken in the same area. All you got to do is right click on a photo that you already edited in Lightroom, select copy edit settings, go ahead and find the photo that you want to do. Let's go ahead and do this photo. Right click on that photo, hit paste edit settings, and it's going to paste all the basic lighting adjustments that you've made in the previous photo. It won't copy the masking or anything. That you still have to do on your own, but this can save you time and get you started. And that's what I like to do for a lot of these photos that are taken in the same area. All right, this one I'm actually just going to change the colors a little bit in the color mixer, just because this was taken at a different angle. So the lighting's a little bit different on this side of the building, but it's still pretty much the same. And I'm just going to decrease these reds here. All right, I'm going to send this to Photoshop because I want to make it look like I actually captured the explosion. It was so hard to capture the explosion that's happening while this gun's firing, because I would see it on my screen, but while I was like shooting in like a rapid fire, like it never caught that explosion. Using this photo, particularly because you can see the shell right in the center here. That's gonna be very easy to edit in Photoshop. So let's go ahead and hit File, Edit in Photoshop, send that to Photoshop. So the very first thing that you do, anytime you're in Photoshop, duplicate your background, you just do right click, duplicate background, or you can just drag it to the little square with the plus symbol on it. That's also gonna that's also gonna duplicate your background. Duplicate. Try to say that 3 times fast. Say it faster. Say it 5 times faster. So what I want to do here, since I want to make it look like I actually captured that explosion in that gun, I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to type in gunshot overlay. Find one that would be good enough and just copy and paste it. Give it a blending mode of screen. That's going to get rid of the background for the most part. If it's not white or if it's not black, like if it's not like a solid color, it's not going to remove it completely. You can just take your eraser tool and erase that excess. Easy stuff here, easy stuff. So now we're gonna start masking out the explosion around the gun and try to make it look realistic. Just do the best you can. You can see here on the photo that there's some motion blur of this gun. That's totally fine. That adds to the realism of this photo. Just masking around the gun the best that I can. And this just takes some going back and forth. I'm actually gonna give this a hard light blending mode. That actually looks better. I remember in the moment, that was like a very bright orangey looking explosion, as it should be, since it's like fire coming out of a gun. And this bullet shell here is actually being overtaken by the explosion. If you were scrolling on Instagram, you probably wouldn't be able to tell there's a shell flying out of that gun that was captured in camera. I'm going to select my handy dandy clone stamp tool, and I'm going to use my crosshairs to target this area of the shell. I'm going to paint it over to the right of the photo, and then to fix there from being 2 shells, which looks totally unrealistic, I'm going to select this dark blue area of the gun range and cover that original shell. So here's what the photo looked like originally. Here's what the photo looked like after some Lightroom adjustments. And here's what the photo looks like now after some Photoshop editing. And there you have it. There's some photo editing done my way. Again, all of this was just subjective. It was just how I would go about editing photos like this. If you would like me to edit any of your photos in the future, you can find me on Instagram at theycallme_Tanner. Just send me a message, send me like 1 to 3 photos that you would like me to edit, and they might be in the next video. If you like something like this, go ahead and click the like button and hit subscribe. That lets me know that you do like this video. And if you'd like to see any specific photos edited in the future, or if you find any on my Instagram that you just want to see how I edited, I can recreate those. Just comment below what photos you would like to see me do. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye. I need to do something at the very end. It's like satisfying. Like you finish the whole video and it just ends and you're like, yes, that ends so well. Like how it goes black and it's just like a noise, like a